Welcome back to Copperhead Customs. What are we going to work on today? Well, today we're going to work on this 1938 Chevy, and we're going to do a will it run. Are you serious? Are we doing a will it run? It's not another will it run, is it? Will it run? That's right. Today we're going to do a will it run on this Holden 202 cubic inch straight 6-cylinder motor. If you want to see if we do get it to run, you better stick around and see what we can pull off. So for the new guys to the channel, this is our 1938 Chevy truck. The cab is built in Australia by Holdens. So back in the old days, before Holdens built cars, they built bodies for different companies. Chevy, Oldsmobile, Bedford, I think Pontiac, International, all these different ones. And one of the telltale signs is these ribs in the roof. Now there's other subtle differences in the Australian built cabs to the American built Chevy cabs, but these are a signature of the Holden built bodies, and these will be in different brands of this era. So this one we picked up from an old farm. It had been there for over 60 years, sitting behind the barn with a huge tree growing out of here. That's right, we picked this up very cheaply, brought it home, stuck it in the garden for a while, and then decided to make a hot rod out of it. We've given it a 5-inch roof chop, we've put a Dodge bonnet, an altered Dodge notes cone, it's on a 33 Chevy chassis, we got this custom tub that we made that came off of a T-bucket Ford, it has a Holden front end in it, a Mitsubishi diff with a 4-bar, we've got a homemade pimped out leather interior, and under here is a 202 cubic inch Holden straight 6 motor. Some people say engine! We've put twin carbies on it, and we need to see if it will run. So, first things first, let's remove this bonnet and see what we can achieve. So removing that is quite the job, but the hinges are freeing up more and more every day. Recap on the motor. We've put this twin carby inlet manifold on it, and the twin carbies, which
that's all, folks.
Which we rebuilt here on the channel. We've put a new alternator on it and a Gilmer belt drive that probably needs to be adjusted. We put a flange on these extractors and painted them, and we've put all new fuel lines, fuel pump, fuel filter on it. Now we have had the motor turning over and done a compression test. 2 of the cylinders were slightly down, but when we added a bit of oil, they both picked up. So fingers crossed, it just needs the rings to come unstuck. So what have we got to do, you say? Well, we have a new thermostat and gasket to put in here. We've got to get a new radiator hose for there. We've got new spark plugs to put in. We've got to give it an oil change. We've got an electronic distributor to put in, and we have to make new leads. Once all that's done, fingers crossed, we'll try to fire it and see what happens. We've also got a hole here in the manifold that needs plugging. So yeah, shouldn't be too hard. Little bit to do. Fingers crossed it runs okay. If it does, we'll see how we go. We do have a twin carby tuning kit, which I have no idea how to use, but we will see if we can pull that off. But anyway, let's get something done, because it won't happen if I keep talking. So the question is, will we get it to run? All right, so here's what we got. We got our electronic distributor. So this will just run a direct 12 volt. So the reason we went down this route was, by the time I bought a coil, a resistor, a new dizzy cap, new set of point, it was basically cheaper to buy this. This is what we are going to throw in it. Hopefully it fits it. We have no idea, but it is meant for this motor. So we've got that. We've got the little plug here to wire. I'm pretty sure one is just a switched positive 12 volt and the other is for our tacho, so we won't be hooking that up yet. We'll just basically connect a battery wire to this and we will install that. We'll go through that a bit later. We've got our leads here and all our adapters to make new lead. Okay, we've got some spark plugs there. Now what we do have to do is we have to pull all the plugs out. There's probably nothing wrong with the plugs in it, but we want to pull all them out and crank this motor over before we attempt to fire it, because we want to shoot out any oil that I've got soaking in it. So that's something else we've got to do. We've got a new thermostat here. So if you've seen the last episode, we'll drill a little hole in this. It helps with bleeding the system. Also, it can drop the temperature a tiny little bit. New gasket for that. So when that's hooked up, that's done for good. We've got a new oil filter. We've got some new oil up on the shelf. And we also have to go and get a new radiator hose. I haven't checked, but I think it's 2 sizes, so we may have to do some fajada-raggery. With all that said, our first job is probably going to be to crank the motor over and get the oil out. All right, we're back. That is our thermostat. We decided to paint that black, and you would have seen that I just drilled, that's our thermostat housing. You would have seen I've just drilled a hole in our thermostat, and we've cleaned the face, and there's our new gasket ready. Right, now, if you've seen us do the distributor, what we did was we set it so that the rotor, we took the cap off, set the rotor button pointing straight back towards the firewall, and that's where our vacuum advance was facing, and then we just took the distributor out at that. We didn't worry about setting everything up to top dead center or anything. We just set it up like that. We've dropped the new one in the same with the rotor button pointing straight to the back and our vacuum advance pointing straight to the front. So theoretically that should be in the pretty much the correct position. We'll probably have to adjust it slightly. We dropped the new plugs in. We've got to make new leads. Now, if you see this silly little thing I made, so this here is a little template made out of a piece of welding wire, and this is the size for our bottom hose, and this was the size for our top hose, and that's basically how we wanted a hose to be. So we've taken that down to the spare parts shop, and this is what we have purchased. So it's not perfect, but it's very close. So if we were to sit that there and there, it gets us very close. We will have to take a little bit off the length here and a little bit off the length here, and we should be able to get a little bit of bend on that. This has a spring in it as well, so theoretically this should work. Now what we've picked is it's the same size top and bottom. Now our radiator bottom and our motor are slightly different, but we're hoping that that I can fix that with the hose clamps. So we bought some new hose clamps for that. We bought some hose clamps for the top hose. So we will look at that, getting that on. As you can see, it's a bit long. Hopefully we can pull that off. Okay, so as you can see, it actually goes on pretty good without even trimming it. I think we're happy with that. I think we may leave that like that. Admittedly, it needs to be the size smaller at the top, but so hopefully the hose clamp will fix that. And then it's a common hose. So that's the best thing, is that's just a standard, it's off of a Ford Falcon, ED 4 litre, straight 6. So it's a standard hose. We'll get some clamps on that. All right, let's do some more. All right, thermostat, housing, we painted it black. That's fitted on, new gasket, new thermostat. Bolts all cleaned on the wire brush and inoxed, so that's all done up. Our hose here seems to be okay. Now, if I've said it or not, but the two ports are different sizes and the two ports are different sizes. So we've had to find a happy medium. Now, that hose ain't bad at all. It seems okay, and the bottom hose seems okay as well. So they're all done up. We haven't filled it up with water yet, but yes, we painted this black. I thought that would look nicer than it did in silver. We've drained the oil, it's still draining. We will put the sump plug back in tomorrow and fill it up with oil. We've got the new filter on over there. Our dizzy's on. We're gonna have to set the timing now. We've started doing our leads. I'll show you tomorrow how we do this. You cut them to length, you strip it back. These ones are a little bit temperamental. They don't fit in my little tool. My little tool, that's like a little guide. I'll show you tomorrow anyway. But you cut them back the center part, you fold back over itself, you put it in this special little crimp tool and crimp them, a little bit of grease and slide the boot on. So we've done cylinders 1, 2 and 3 going there. This is how we've sort of decided to run them. I don't know, I routed them like 4,000 different ways, and this is sort of how I've come up with this side to look the best. And we'll do something similar over here where we'll run, I think 6 comes to here, so we'll do that loop, which will be like that, and then these will come and do I think one there and one there, so we'll do a similar little, I don't know, that's as good as we're going to get it. And then at that point, we want to take the pulley off the front of the alternator, and I want to put a washer to space the pulley forward a little bit, because I can see straight away that the belt is not running true. So we want to space the alternator pulley forward a little bit before we get too carried away. And at that point, I think we're pretty close. We've just got to run a wire to the plug for this that will go to our battery, which will feed this. So temporary wire to that. Put some water in it, oil in it. We'll put a fuel hose on into a jug and kick it in the gut and see what happens. So tomorrow should be the day. So anyway, I've had enough dark and I've had enough tonight, so we'll see you in the morning.
The next day.
That's it. Oh, hey, Copperhead. What are you doing in the shed? Oh, I heard you're doing will it run. I just come in and I was connecting the battery. Why is that sparking? Oh, are they meant to spark? I've told you to stay out of here. Oh, come on! Don't be like that! I tell you, if he wasn't related to me, what the hell was he doing over here? How do you keep someone like that out of your shed? Okay, that's how we've done the leads. About as neat as I can get them, I think. I can't really come up with much better than that. I think that looks pretty good. We've connected some fuel to the filter. We've put water in the radiator. We forgot about a hose here. And also we had a fair bit of oil come out. Someone hadn't done the rocker cover bolts up. I think because I was probably going to put the chrome one on it. So I hadn't tightened any of this up. So we had a bit of oil leak out. Yeah, we had a hose here. I actually thought this was actually blocked on this for some reason. And so this is like your heater hose off your water pump. So I've put a hose there to loop that back around. I've taken the Gilmer belt drive off. So we've got no alternator running and no water pump basically. So we can't run it long because that belt's not true yet. So I just want it to fire up first. So we've got our wire from our distributor over to our battery. We've got a battery there and a jump pack on. We've just put a tiny little bit of petrol in here. So we haven't filled our bowls. So we'll just see if we can get it to kick. So fingers crossed we get something to happen. May need a better battery, I think. Let's give them both a drink. Not happy, is it? All right, we've connected another battery, so let's take two. Put a bit of petty down. We haven't tried to start it. Like as in, we've just cranked it to make sure the battery was good. And it did have a little pop, so you can see by the smoke there. So let's see what happens. Ooh, I think it might work. We getting anything in our fuel filter yet? Little bit coming up on the fuel filter, so we'll just keep going. Oh yeah, there's the first kick. What have we got happening here? Got petrol pouring out of this carby. Why? I don't know. We've got fuel in the filter. alive. Put a bit more down it. Right, it's leaking there as soon as I put some in. Okay, we have a bad leak, but it runs. We have a bad leak on this carby for some reason. So I do not want to keep running that at the moment until we look at that. So what is it leaking from? It's like there's a crack in it or something. Maybe let's fire it up one more time and see if I can see where that's leaking. It's coming out of this fitting. Looks like. That looks better. Right, let's put a bit down it and see if we can get it to kick again. It runs. So the timing's a touch out. Definitely need to tune the carbies. We've still got a little leak there, but it runs. We need to get an exhaust on it so we can have a decent listen to it. So that's probably our next step, is to build the exhaust, suss this fuel leak, because that is not good to have this fuel leak happening. We will not run it any longer because I do not want those extractors getting any warmer and it catching fire. So I'd call that success. We got it to run. So with that being said, that will do us. We just got it to run. So thanks for watching. See you next week.